Well, as we've been doing every week for the past few weeks, keeping up with what's going on in Rockingham County and the Star News region with COVID-19 and coronavirus. We're going to check in with Eden Mayor Neville Hall, who is standing by to talk with us about how it's affecting the land of two rivers, or the city of Eden, North Carolina. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the weather for just a moment with the mayor. But anyway, Mayor Hall, welcome. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well and hope you had a fantastic Easter weekend.
Oh, thank you, Mark. It was nice. It was different from any Easter I've ever experienced, but it was good, and I'm doing fine. I appreciate you having me again.
I was actually, you beat me to the draw, because I was going to ask you, how was this Easter for you and your family different than ones past? Because everywhere that I only went one place really over the weekend. After news on Friday, I actually only had to make one trip out, and that was actually to pick up a few items at the grocery store. But I was speaking to one of the clerks at the grocery store who told me it just doesn't seem like Easter. And I think that was pretty much across the board for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. I attend the Moravian Church in Eden, and we've had that sunrise service for my entire life. So this is the first time in a long time that we didn't actually get to have the sunrise service, and it like you say, it just didn't quite feel like Easter. But you still got to spend time with your family and hopefully enjoy your immediate family's company, and still able to find some food to eat, which is always a good thing. So I know my mom and my mother-in-law love to cook, but this particular Easter, there was no cooking allowed. So
right. I know that I noticed that a lot of people were posting pictures on Facebook of their Easter meals, and a lot of it used to be things like ham and all sorts of things a little bit different this year, with people not quite going all out, because just as you mentioned, those family dinners whittled down somewhat, I guess, because of COVID-19 and people afraid to get too close to each other, and we certainly understand that. But better days are going to be here. We're going to talk more about COVID-19 coming up in just a moment. Before we get any further, though, let's talk about the storm that came through on Monday morning. Charles Rourke said sirens were blasting in Martinsville. They have storm sirens there. And of course, my NOAA weather radio was going crazy. My phone was going crazy. A lot of different alerts, whether it was watches and warnings. Now, I also had the opportunity to speak to Rodney Cates, who's the Director of Emergency Services for Rockingham County. He said that the county fared pretty well, considering that this was a really powerful system moving across the area. He said that Rockingham County was pretty much spared from a lot of damage. But I understand you had some things going on there in Eden.
Yeah, we were fortunate that the county and all the emergency alerts that were being put out, they were put out early enough that there was fair warning, so people were expecting this. This is not something that just blew up suddenly. They'd been talking about it for a couple of days being bad, and I think especially here in Eden and all the way through the county, I think we just barely skirted having some really significant damage. We had, from what I understand in Eden, other than branches and things down, I think that the canopy blew over at a J-Mart on Stadium Drive, and then I understand there was a tree down across some power lines on Highway 14, which just caused some traffic diversions for just a short amount of time. But again, luckily nobody was hurt, and no significant property damage, and it could have been much worse. I think we just barely missed having a major issue, and in the midst of all we got going on, we'll take any break we can get.
Yeah, exactly. And other places around the Piedmont Triad area did have damages, including one death in Davidson County that we know of, and then around the Raleigh Triangle area, I think they had some too. So thank goodness that we were spared from the damage. I think actually we were probably, at least I was surprised that this storm, which was very powerful, we know that it wreaked havoc all across the South, but compared to the storm that kind of surprised everybody last week, and then what we received on Monday was quite different. So always be prepared, and that's the reason why we encourage everybody to please get a NOAA weather radio or put the apps on your phone. They're free, don't cost you anything, and will definitely keep you updated when this weather. And you know, as well as I do, Mayor, the weather is only going to be rocky between now and the autumn, because we're already seeing storms, pretty powerful storms moving, and we're just in the month of April. We've still got the entire summer to go, and we know that a lot of times we have some pretty heavy duty storms through here, so now's a good time to go ahead and put those apps on the phones and get ready.
Yeah, I think that especially with these summer afternoon pop-up storms, that they may or may not be able to predict those a day or two ahead. So if you have your warning device with your phone or whatever app you can find, they can get it out to you pretty quickly. As not necessarily like this particular storm we just had that I think everybody was expecting for a couple of days. But like you say, during the summer, sometimes the weather gets pretty rough pretty quick. So yeah, I would recommend anybody who has access to those alerts to go ahead and sign up for those.
Now let's talk about COVID-19, or the coronavirus. The new figures out today from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, which of course works with all of the health departments in the state of North Carolina. Rockingham County has 16 cases today, and that's up from 2 yesterday, up from let me rephrase that. That's up from 14 on Monday. So we've got 2 new cases reported overnight. The county is still reporting 2 deaths. Our numbers we're in the double digits at this point, but our numbers are still relatively low compared to some of the other communities around the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe some of the cases that are now coming back positive may have been a result of the slow testing system that was in place at the beginning, but I think now they've improved the testing. So we have 16 confirmed cases. I don't know if that is a good sign that that's leveled off, or are we beginning to get more with the new testing system? But 14 to 16, although that's 2 unfortunate cases for people with 90,000 plus people in the county, that's really not devastating like a outbreak. So
right.
I could say that the only tools we have, I've said over and over, are the social distancing and the hand washing and the no gathering of 10. The CDC guidelines that we've talked about, and those are the only tools we have right now. And apparently, they're working. And of course, until there's a vaccine or a cure, then there's always going to be some sort of scare about it. But I think that just keep doing what we've been doing. I don't think anybody's doing 100% of what we're supposed to do, but I think that every little bit helps, and that it's impossible to completely isolate yourself. It's not impossible. You could do it if you were physically sick and needed to, but people are out and about. They're in the grocery stores, and they're beginning to. The stores everybody's now in compliance with the governor's orders for one-way lanes in the big stores and 6 feet distancing, and those things, they're working, and we just need to continue to follow those until we finally get this virus figured out and it's gone.
I know that you still have to travel around the city like other officials do. Are you noticing people? Are you beginning to see there's a lot of people out there with cabin fever? And I'm reading about this. I see Facebook posts, and I read things that people are saying, how they are really beginning to get tired of being in the house all the time. And so when you have to travel for your job as mayor, are you seeing people out and about? Are you noticing more now than you were, say, maybe a week or 2 ago?
I think that in the beginning, when it was recommended that we stay home, I think that I saw a lot of traffic on the roads. I don't know if at that point people were heading out to buy groceries in an effort to stay home for a long time. And then a week or so ago, after the governor made it mandatory that we follow some of these more strict orders, I did notice there was a lot less traffic on the roads. But
right.
just as you mentioned, I think people are beginning to get stir crazy. Either that, or maybe they ran out of groceries from the first time a couple of weeks ago, and they're back out on the market again. So it seems to be a lot of traffic on the road, but there's nothing wrong with that. If you need to go somewhere, you need to go. That's what the whole order is.
Right.
If you have an essential need, go do it. And you're in your car by yourself or with somebody from your household, that's not necessarily creating a danger to anybody else. So just got to be mindful when you are inside of a store or picking up food at a restaurant. Be considerate and give all those people 6 feet too, just in case.
Around the entire county, I'm not hearing of anything. Usually, if there's somebody who's not following an order, or we'll get calls. Sometimes people will say, this person's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or this person's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know, at least I haven't. I'm not sure about the rest of the staff. Haven't received any calls about any of the businesses not minding the orders of the distancing, following the governor's orders, or even, going against the grain of the order by opening restaurant departments or sections and allowing that. So I think most people who are these essential businesses, they are definitely trying, it seems to me, to comply with what the governor ordered.
Yeah, in the first part of this week and in the last week, Mike Doherty and Randy Hunt went around to all these businesses that they could make contact with, and didn't necessarily tell them what they needed to do or what they had to do, but they made sure they understood what was expected, and let them know that the city's going to be serious about enforcing this, and like you said, everybody that they checked was in compliance, and
right.
They're doing things the right way, and that's what we needed. So I think that it's working. I hope that it continue. If people just remain vigilant about it, stay patient, we'll eventually, what they call flatten the curve. We need to end the curve and get back to a normal life.
Now, you wanted to mention City Hall. I think City Hall is, even though Eden City Hall is open for business, you still need to try to still social distance if you possibly can, I think by phone or email. Am I right there?
You are right. The actual building is closed to visitors. The best way to get in touch with, if you need to talk to a specific department, is to call City Hall, and that number is 336-623-2110. And once you make that connection, you can pick the department that you need, and should be able to help you with what you need. And of course, if it's a utility payment, there's a drop box up in the circle, and you can also pay on the website www.edennc.us, and you can take care of your utility payments that way. If you have a need to speak with somebody inside City Hall, call that number I said, and somebody will get to you and get back to you and help you with what you need. I know that I got a nice thank you letter this morning from a resident who had dealt with the planning and zoning department and was able to complete a request for information, and they helped her out, and she was able to sell some real estate. So
nice.
Well, they're working. They're able to still do business, and it's nice to get thanked. And it's a testament to the workers at City Hall continuing to do their job.
Now let me ask you something. There are some things planned. Eden has a lot of events going on, especially during the summer months. You've got Shagging on Fieldcrest. You've got other things. Has there been any decisions made about those? I think those are so far down the road that maybe they're not going to be impacted by this. Hopefully things will be back to normal. So I'm assuming that at this point there's been no definite changes on any of the events coming up. Is that right?
Nothing's been, officially announced that it's been canceled or changed, except for the things that were, and I'm trying to remember, there were a couple things in May that have already been postponed or canceled. So, yeah, I can't wait to get back on to our normal show where we spend a half an hour talking about fun things to do.
Right, you and me both. Really, every day it's COVID-19. I'll be glad when we can finally talk about this event. This event's coming up. You need to plan for this event. That's something.
I think.
Go ahead.
these upcoming events may be the most heavily attended ever. I think people are finally realizing that, there was plenty to do, and now all of a sudden there's nothing to do. So hopefully people appreciate all the work that goes into these events that you were talking about, and we can have huge crowds at all of them and make them even more successful.
You know what the saying goes, you don't miss it until it's not there. And so you may be right. You may see some heavy attendance at a lot of these events this year. So we'll talk more about those as we get a little bit closer. I know that you wanted to talk about the Butterfly Trail there in Eden.
I meant to mention this last week. But it wasn't completely, construction wasn't completely finished last week, and it's still got a little bit to go. But this is a new project along the Smith River Greenway. If you park over on the end of our greenway that goes from the YMCA over to the old water plant on I'm drawing a blank, Morgan Road. And if you go over there on the, Meadow Road, and just park on that end, you can walk halfway down the trail, and it's basically flat. It's got all the new butterflies that were handcrafted and put up in the trees, and it's a very nice exhibit. I know the kids love it. There are some cards on the wall of the shelter. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You can check them off as you see them. And I was on the Greenway a couple times in the last few weeks, and I'm sure it's because the gyms and the YMCA are closed, but the Greenway is getting a tremendous amount of use right now, and that's what we wanted. And I'm glad that people have an option to be outside and walk along the beautiful river and see all nature that's there. But that butterfly is just another enhancement to the trail that was already there.
I think there's some pictures of that on the city's Facebook page, right? Am I right in that?
Yeah. At some point, it probably already passed, but we'll do it eventually. There was going to be an opening ceremony for that, and we just couldn't do it because of what's going on, but because there would be a gathering of more than 10. But it'll be open. It is open now, and it's well worth the time to walk down there and get some exercise. And I did notice, I was watching Monday Night Live, and I'm pretty sure all of the wood sprites live in Reidsville, so you should be fine on our trail.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I know that's been a concern over here. The wood sprites have definitely been a concern. We're watching for him every day here in downtown Reidsville. You saw the show. I
saw they're kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Put them on our Greenway. We're enjoying our peaceful butterfly trail.
Jonathan, you're listening to this, right? All right. So we can't wait, Mayor. We may have to do an update on that. We'll see if there's any wood sprite sightings in Eden, North Carolina, and we'll have to get the official word from you as mayor, and you can tell us all about that.
Banned. No wood sprites in Eden.
Yeah.
Executive order.
All right, by executive order, you've heard that. It's official. No wood sprites in the city of Eden, North Carolina, the land of two rivers. I'm glad to hear it. All right. Well,
have a little fun. You got to have a little fun sometimes.
You really do have to have a little fun.
Not always bad news, you know?
Oh, gosh, yes. Well, listen, I'm so glad to hear about that. Maybe we can show some pictures of those butterflies. I've seen them somewhere, and I thought I saw them maybe on the city's website. So maybe we can show some pictures of that and some other things. And just remember, everybody, this is, it's not going to last forever. So some fun things will be coming up, and we'll finally get back to normal here pretty soon. Mayor, we're out of time. Listen, thank you so much for updating us. Can't wait to get back to a regular routine here soon. But until we do, we're going to keep updates for our viewers there in Eden, and I know they like to hear it from an official source, and you are the mayor, so they hear it from you. So thank you so much, and we will be talking to you next Tuesday. How about that?
All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right. Eden Mayor Neville Hall updating us on what's going on with COVID-19, coronavirus, and then other things going on there in the city as well, and we appreciate him taking a few minutes to catch up with us on that. And again, as you just heard, it's official. There are no wood sprites in the land of two rivers. All right. He watches Monday Night Live. See, you need to watch Monday nights at 8 o'clock. We will be back. We've got more coming up right after these messages.